Excellent. Good evening and welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are delighted to have you here tonight. Tonight, we are going to actually talk about FAFSA. And this is FAFSA completion night. We're going to answer questions. We have experts from all of our colleges and universities here in Tallahassee, Leon County area. This is not only for our over 2,000 graduating seniors in Leon County schools and also in the surrounding area. We can also have people on this call who may already be in school, who may be thinking about going back to school. So it's a great opportunity to find out information. My name is Dr. Michelle Gale, and I proudly serve as the Assistant Superintendent in Professional and Community Services. But let's talk about what we're going to do tonight, and then we'll talk about who's here. You're going to get a step-by-step process to the free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA, as you'll hear us say tonight, and you're going to complete the FAFSA and get money for college. How does that sound? Does that sound great to everyone? I hope that it does. It sounds great to me. So I've already introduced myself, and thank you so much for being here this evening. We have some experts here with us, and do we want to go ahead and have our experts introduce themselves, Corey, or should I just keep going? I'm sorry. Should I
just keep going? We do have them from FSU, FAMU, TCC, Lively, so we're all covered.
Excellent. So our facilitator tonight is none other than Bill Spires. He's the Director of Financial Aid at Tallahassee Community College, and he just talked to us about his passion for making sure that everyone knows that they can apply and possibly receive free money for financial aid. So you'll be hearing from him very shortly. And as Corey just said, we have financial aid experts. These are experts who do this each and every day. Every question that you think you have, they have an answer to. And if they don't have an answer, trust me, they're going to find it and they're going to let you know. We have experts from Tallahassee Community College, Florida A&M University, Florida State University, and Lively Technical College. So get ready with those questions. They're here to address your specific needs. Now, what is the FAFSA? We talked about that. It's the free application for federal student aid. Why? It's free money for college, money that you qualify for. The main purpose of it, as we go through the application, is to calculate your EFC, or expected family contribution. In other words, how much your family is expected to pay for college. We'll go through all of that. You'll put in information, that'll be collected, and we can move forward. Sound good? Great, let's keep going. So there are 4 types of financial aid that you find at all of our institutions of higher learning. There's scholarships. Those are free. They can be provided, as you know, from organizations. It's private money, the university, institutional money, and individuals, private money known as gift aid, okay? Check out the scholarship page for a list of scholarships. Your high schools, they have them. The colleges, they have them. Google scholarships. You'd be surprised. There are scholarships for people who write with their left hand. I don't, I'm right-handed. There are scholarships for people who have parents who are left-handed. There's all kinds of scholarships out there. Yes, it takes time, takes a little bit of patience, but it's free money. There's also free money in grants. Okay, that's free money that may be awarded by organizations, again, private money, the university, institutional money, or the government, that's federal and state money, known as grant aid. There's also a list of the most common grants awarded to students. You can find that on different web pages. Google it. Everybody loves to Google things, so Google that and find that out. The other type of money that you can get for financial aid includes work study. What is work study? Students are offered an opportunity to work through an on-campus organization and earn money to help pay their cost of attendance. Don't worry, the people who offer work study, they're going to work with your college schedule, because after all, you're there for your education. So they're not going to schedule you when you have a class. First thing that they're going to ask you, Tell me your schedule of classes, and they're going to make sure, depending on how much you are awarded with work study, when you can work. Okay, your work hours are flexible to fit the student's class schedule, and the wages are subsidized by the federal government and the university, so employers are more willing to hire work study students. We're fortunate in Leon County Schools, working with Tallahassee Community College. We actually have some work study students within our campuses here in Leon County Schools. And then there are loans, okay? Whenever you hear loan, what does that mean? You're going to end up having to pay that money back. This is money that is borrowed. It accumulates interest, and it must be paid back. There are several types of loan, including the subsidized federal loans, unsubsidized federal loans, okay, dream loans, private loans, and you can also look up the different types of loans that you may qualify for. But again, they accumulate interest and they have to be paid back. So why are we applying for financial aid? We're going to talk about the cost of attendance versus tuition. Everybody talks about going to school. How much is the tuition? That's only one part of what you need when you advance into higher ed. Of course, you have to pay that tuition. That's how much your classes cost, how many hours you take, how much the cost is per hour. Then there's also this thing called fees. There are fees that you have to pay for being a student, fees for particular classes that you take. If you take a biology class, you're going to have biology lab. So chances are there's going to be fees that are associated with that class and other classes as well. Okay, so you're taking the class, but guess what? You need books and supplies for the class, okay? You have to go to that college bookstore, get those books, or you can borrow them online, but you do have to pay a fee for those books and or supplies. Then there's personal things such as health insurance, okay? So you're on campus, you're living on an apartment, something happens, you have to have health insurance. Now, most colleges and universities, they do provide health insurance at a low cost rate, but you still have to pay for it. There are other things such as car insurance that you have to pay for, gas, different things like that. And then that all falls under transportation, and not to mention room and board. Where are you going to live? What are you going to eat? You may choose to live on campus, okay? That might be more economical, and then get a meal plan, or maybe you want to cook within your dorm and make things happen there. But all of that adds up for the cost of attendance versus tuition. Tuition is just one part of it, a very important part, but you have to think about everything else. And then you also have to think about extracurricular activities that you may want to be a part of. So all of that comes into the cost of attendance versus tuition. Okay, let's keep going. Now, we want you to avoid these common, you're very intelligent, very smart, but these are common FAFSA challenges, okay? Carefully read the definition of the questions that FAFSA will ask the students to determine the student's dependency status. We're going to talk briefly about that in just a second. Answer some questions, then our experts are really going to answer your questions. Confirm your FAFSA includes the exact student and or parent free student aid ID, or the FSA ID. I don't want you to think we're talking about the FSA test. We're talking about the free student aid ID. All right. Understand again what parent information the student needs to put on the FAFSA. For example, if the parent is remarried at the time of completing the FAFSA, the student's legal parent and step parent will need to provide information on the FAFSA form. Making sure that you avoid these mistakes will make sure that you get the information that you need for your free student aid, okay? Let's look at some examples of who's my parent when I fill out the FAFSA form, okay? Who is my parent when I fill out this form? Couple of things that you need to keep in mind. And this is some yes and no scenarios. And I know that as you fill out the form, our experts are going to help you through this. So I'm just going to go over like this at a 10,000 foot view. So are your parents married to each other? If they are, then report information on both parents on the FAFSA form. But if they're not, Then, do your parents live together? You have questions to answer there. Yes, they do. Even if they're not married, there are certain things that they have to do where both of the parents fill out the FAFSA form. Okay, if they do not live together, did you live with one parent more than the other parent over the past 12 months? If you did, then that parent that you live with more over the past 12 months, that's who you will actually get your FAFSA information from. If you didn't, okay, then you have to report information on the FAFSA form of the parent who provided more financial support to you over the past 12 months. So it's quite a few scenarios there. A couple of other things that we want you to keep in mind. The following examples are not your parents unless they have legally adopted you. Okay, a widow step parent. If they haven't legally adopted you, then they're not your parent. Your grandparents, as much as they love you, and that widowed step parent, they're not your parents, okay? An older brother or sister, foster parents, aunts or uncles, and then legal guardians. Again, if they have not adopted you, then they are not your parents, okay? Again, all of our experts, they will help you with that because you may have part of a situation, another part of a situation, so on and so forth, and we're here to help you. We're going to move on. So IRS data retrieval challenges, reason why certain tax filers cannot use the tool. All right. Was the person a victim of identity theft? If they were, and things are still tied up where they're trying to get things worked out, then you can't use the FAFSA tool. Are they married but filed individual return as married filing separate? Then they can't use it. And again, married and filed as head of household, then you wouldn't be able to use the FAFSA form. Okay, here are some other FSA. Remember, free student aid ID. I know if you're in high school, you're thinking FSA, I'm past that. But this is FSA free student aid ID common challenges. Make sure that you avoid those social security number mistakes, okay? Avoid these errors by having your current social security card right in front of you when creating your free student aid ID. Now you may say, hey, I can keep this all up in my head. Keep the card in front of you, avoid that error, okay? Forgetting your FSA ID username and or FSA ID password. Avoid this by not just writing it down, but also saving it to a cell phone or some electronic device where you can retrieve it. You're going to need that information. Don't try and commit it to memory. Write it down. You're going to need it. And last but not least, using your school email address when creating the FSA ID. Right now, if you're a Leon County School District student, you actually have a Leon County school address. However, come the week of June 7th through 12th, when you all graduate and march across that stage, about the middle of the month, we're going to be deleting those accounts. You don't want your FSA information going to that account. So make sure that you choose only to use a personal email address, such as Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, all that other stuff. All of those are free. So this may be a great opportunity, if you haven't already done so, to create an account using those services. All right. So I want all of you to remember this. I know we have some brilliant scholars here. You've done dual enrollment. You're in IB. You're taking AP courses, all of that stuff. Remember, you are, no matter how brilliant you are, a first time in college, first year student, regardless of the number of credits that you have earned. All right. So use the Zoom chat if you get stuck or if you have questions for our experts. They are here to help and assist you. All right. So take a deep breath. You ready? It's about that time. Gather your FSA, free student aid ID and taxes, one for you and one for your parent if you are dependent. Okay, it's about that time. So give you a second to get that stuff together. Hopefully you already have it. Got it? We're going to go to the FAFSA.gov website now. And with that being said, I think this is the time that I turn this over to Mr. Spires.
Thank you, Dr. Gale. And now we're going to start the fun part, and that's walking through the free application for federal student aid. Can I share my screen now, Corey?
You may.
Okay, let me see. Okay, there we go. Make sure I've got it here. And okay, I've got to go back in. It logged me out. Let me go to my login. Everybody should be going to your login and tell them that you're the student. I have to go over and I have to steal an ID from them. That's the way we do this when we're doing this. And I have to, just like you, I have to have a user ID, and they give me those to use. Whoops, missed one of the numbers there. So while you're doing yours, I'm doing mine.
So students, make sure you're opening this in a separate window so you can keep us open.
I'm sorry, I meant to say that.
FAFSA.
Yes, open a new window and have it ready. And put this in your window, and we're going to walk through the form because you need to be able to see what we're doing and follow with us. Now, hope they had it down a few minutes ago. Oh, golly. They seem to have taken a few of these down tonight, so I'm having to fight with them a little bit to make it work, but we'll do that again. That doesn't work. I have to go down here and I have to grab a renewal username. I'd hoped they would not log me out, but they did. Log in. Doesn't matter which one I use, we're going to get the same questions anyway. There we go. It's letting me in now. So if you can get logged in and start that process, you want to accept all of their warnings that they've told you. It tells you that if you're using a preparer, they should be turning it over to you. You want to accept all those. And right now, we want to concentrate on the 2021-2022. I want to start over so that we're starting from the beginning. You want to create a save key. Okay, why do you want to create a save key? Because if you can't finish the document at one time, or you need to leave for a while, you don't want to have to start the whole process over again. So you want to create a save key. Think what you want your save key to be. And put in your save key. Don't think I made a match. Let's see. I want to show you. Guess what? Mine didn't match. I did that purposefully so you could see it. Okay. If they don't match, it's not going to let you move forward. I thought I did it right that time. My big fingers. That should match. There we go. Now we're in. it tells you when you get in here how you can get help completing your FAFSA, how many steps it takes to complete, how long it will take to complete, how can I save it if I can't finish it, documents needed, and how to sign into the FAFSA and the security policy. We'll drop one of these just so you can see it. How many steps does it take? And it tells you right here what the steps are in order to complete it. Now I'm going to tell you how long it takes to complete. And I haven't looked at that this year, but for a family filling it in the first time, it's usually about 35 minutes. So they didn't say yet, less than 1 hour is what they say, but the actual time is about 35 minutes. So they give you a bunch of help items right here. Now let's move on to the next page. And this is where you come in. This is where you need to list your social security number. Very important, because they use that social security number against database matches. And this is where they confirm that you're a US citizen. They confirm that you are not deceased, believe it or not. They have people who apply who are no longer living, so you got to make sure. Then they ask for your first name, your middle initial, and your last name. After that, it goes to your date of birth. Have you noticed how easy these questions are? All the time, people have told you how difficult it is to complete this application. And when you start looking at it, it's really very easy. So let's keep on going. Anybody have any problems with this page? If you do, put a question in the chat, and we have financial aid experts waiting to answer those questions. I'm giving you a few minutes just so that we stay running in the same path together. Just double check that social security number. Okay, I'm going to go to the next page. Then it asks for the user or your email address. Dr. Gale just brought up a really good point. Do not use your high school email address. Use one of those other email addresses you have. You know, the 5 email addresses you have out there? One of those, one that you're going to keep. I always tell everybody, use one that won't embarrass you as you get older. You know, you don't want to use Hot Lip 777, right? Use one that you won't be embarrassed by later. So, and then you re-enter that number, and then we ask for your telephone number. This can be your cell number, or it can be your home number, or it could be your parents' cell number. But this is a way to for them to reach you by telephone. So this is the number that you want them to contact you on. Any questions about this page? Okay, I'm just giving everybody a second, and then we're going to move on to the next page. Now we want your permanent mailing address. Your city, your state, your zip code. Those 2 are all important. They're matching all of these things up. Also, when your information comes back in at the college, many colleges are looking at this information to match you up to your information that you submitted. So it's important to get all of this information correct. Again, directory information. This is simple stuff. Okay, I'm just giving everybody a minute to type. Go on to the next page. In this case, they're asking, have you lived in Maryland for at least 5 years? You'll have a question because you're from Florida asking you about Florida. They don't give me one on Florida, so we're using Maryland, but they'll ask you something similar. So in my case, I'm going to click yes. And then they ask, are you a US citizen? Please, please, please answer this question correctly. Yes, I am a US citizen. No, but I'm an eligible non-citizen. No, I'm not a citizen or an eligible non-citizen. I want you to hear me very clearly here. Even if you're not a citizen or an eligible non-citizen, if you are a dreamer, for example, you can complete this form. Many schools will use their own resources to help fund students considered dreamers. You can submit this and you can submit it without any fear. There's never been a case where the U.S. Department of Education has shared any information on this form with the Department of Homeland Security. There's no cases where that has occurred, and many of the Dreamer students have received aid from the institution. If you are an eligible non-citizen, and it's going to come up in a minute, your alien registration number needs to be correct or it's going to bounce you out of the system. So remember, make sure you use caution in everything you do. In our case, I'm going to say, yes, I'm a US citizen. So it's going to take me right past that alien registration number. This form is intuitive. If I answer questions certain ways, it gives me, well, I'll tell you what I'll do so that we can see that. See, when I click no, but I'm an eligible non-citizen, did you see how it popped up for your alien registration number? It tells you exactly what to do. Follow those directions. In our case, I'm going to click yes, I'm a US citizen or a US national, and I'm going to click next. What will your high school status, completion status be when you begin college? In the 21-22 year, you're either going to have a high school diploma, a GED, or state authorized program. You are homeschooled or none of the above. I will tell you, if you click none of the above, on the most part, you're going to disqualify yourself from federal financial aid. There are a few ability to benefit programs out there, but they're not easy, and you have to be in a GED program simultaneously. We want all of you to complete your high school degree. And that's what our goal is, to get you through high school and into college. So let's click high school diploma. What college degree or certificate will you be working on when you begin the 21-22 school year? For all of our undergraduate students who are graduating from high school this year, you will either be working on your first bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, or a certificate. You will not be working on a second bachelor's, a teaching credential, or a graduate professional program. For our graduate student in the audience, you would click that you're going to work on a graduate or professional degree. Just so you'll know, when you do that, the questions for your parental information will be excluded from the form automatically. Tonight, we're going to look at all of it. So I'm going to say first bachelor's degree. Will you have your first bachelor's degree before you begin the 21-22 school year? I appreciate the fact that they are now automatically checking no on that. The reason is this question was answered incorrectly a good deal of the time, and people were getting confused. But if you're going to have your first bachelor's degree before you begin the 21-22 school year, you don't need any financial aid, because you're what, from my generation and some of them on this call, you're a Doogie Howser. You're going to be one of those people that you're going to have everything you need. Don't worry about it. But for most of us, we had to check first bachelor's degree. Okay, that we would not have one. Okay. What will your college grade level be when you begin the 21-22 school year? My graduate student here, it's either first college graduate professional program or a continued graduate professional program. For all of the others that are in high school at the current time, even if you participated in a dual enrollment program and earned college credits that in Florida will apply toward your degree, You are never attended college first year. Never attended college first year. And then they ask, are you interested in being considered for work study? In my opinion, that's one of the best programs that we offer. It keeps you from having to borrow as much. And I encourage work study. I tell every group of students I talk to, I'm in higher ed today because of work study. I was the work study student to the dean for the 4 years I was in college. When I graduated, she was promoted to president and asked me to go as assistant to the president in the president's office. And that's how I got into higher ed. So I believe in work study. I'm an example of work study. So I encourage you to say yes. Are you male or female? People have asked me today if that is the sex that was assigned to you at birth, and the answer is yes. What was on your birth certificate is what you would list here. In my case, I'm going to list male. And then they ask for your driver's license if you have one. If you don't have your driver's license, then I encourage you to get a state ID. It works just as well. And so I'll put in a number here, FL 000-333-222-111. Your driver's license state, for all of us, or your state ID, it would be Florida. And I'll hit next. Are you a foster youth, or were you at any time in the foster care system? Why do they ask that? Because this may qualify you to become independent, or it may qualify you to receive benefits. Like in Florida, you could receive a tuition forgiveness at state universities and colleges. I'm going to say no. What happens if you say yes? Nothing on this one. I just want to show you. And then it asks about the high school completion by parent 1. That can be mother or father, and parent 2. If they click college or beyond, that means they have at a minimum a college degree, from a baccalaureate degree, I should say. If they have an associate's degree, you would click high school. If they don't and they didn't finish high school, it's the level they completed. I'll click college and beyond on this one and high school on this one. As long as one parent completed college, then you don't have to worry. You do not, well, you do have to worry because you won't qualify for the first generation matching grant. Let me just say high school for both of them. That way you would qualify. Okay, I'm going to slow down for a minute because it's easy for me to get going and just rip right through this, but I want to give you time to catch up with me. Hopefully most of these questions have been fairly simple and you've been able to answer them, but I know you may have had to type in your driver's license number. That's a long one. So I'm just giving you a little time here. Okay. I'm going to move to the next screen. Okay. Okay, now, student information. Now we ask, what is the name of your high school? Well, I'll put mine in there. That was in Jacksonville. I think they want, okay. So used to doing the other, and then you put in Florida. Okay. Then it asks you to confirm. There it is. And then, giving everybody a second or two, I don't know how long yours is spinning. Then I'll click next. Okay. Do you know the college's federal school code? Let me just show you this. Let's say Florida. And then you can go to the school code list right here. Okay, tells you what it is. Okay. Now, so now I'll put in, since I went to Jacksonville University, I will, and I'll put in JACKSONVILLE University. And then I'll do a search. If I don't know the school code, and it'll find it for you. There you go. Got it. That's the one I want to put. You can put up to 10 schools in there, by the way. Then it asked me my housing plans. Well, for this, I'm going to say on campus. And then I'm going to hit next. If you're going to live with your parents, put that in, but put what you're going to do.
While we're waiting, if there's anything any of the panelists want to add, we can do that
Yes.
now. If you have any thoughts or comments based on questions you've seen so far.
Yeah, folks, chime in. Don't be afraid.
I would just say regarding the scholarship question, just make sure that you're casting your net wide. Look at the school's financial aid website. And I would also look at many different schools' financial aid websites for scholarships that are not specific to that school. Businesses, churches, Chick-fil-A, different places are also ways to secure additional resources to aid in your federal aid.
Leave no stone unturned as you look for scholarships. And if you've been to the high school office once, you haven't been, because they get new scholarships every day. Okay.
Also, you can continue to apply for scholarships all throughout college. So it's not just when you're
Yes.
entering college, and those little ones that are $1,000 here and $1,500 there may seem a drop in the bucket, but they start adding up. So there really are a lot of small ones out there that if, you can have a couple of essays that you can tweak each time and they can really make a difference. And many of them don't specify what it has to be applied to as well.
Now I'm going to
Also
try
check
something
the
different.
university foundations websites as well. Sometimes the foundations might have scholarships you can apply for.
I'm gonna put that on one of those on the website. I was gonna say too, if you're going into a degree seeking program, you can check with the departments and see about some scholarships.
Now I'm going to try a different housing plan. It let me go with a different housing plan. That's good.
It didn't like dorm life.
It did not like dorm life, thought the rooms were too small. What is your marital status? This is where students, we're determining your dependency status. You're either single, married, or remarried, separated, divorced, or widowed. Most of you as undergraduates graduating from high school are single. Then do you or will you have children who receive more than half of their support from you? They have to receive 50.5% of their support from you, not from your parents, but from you, not from the grandparents, but from you, for you to check yes here. So I'm going to check no. Do you have dependents other than your children or spouse who live with you and receive more than half of their support? No. And then I'm going to click next. Household size. Okay. Let's say number in college, there'll be one. It's not giving me these because this was a pre-fill, but you would put in how many you, and if you're married, your spouse, this would be your number of family members. I mean, this can be anything you want it to be right here. Whatever it'll let you put in. It's not letting me because this was a pre-filled application I'm having to work from tonight. Okay, so I'll hit next. You are considered independent, an independent student. This means you are not required. Well, we will answer tonight because this is the only way I can get to these questions. The parents' financial information. I'm assuming most of you are dependent. If you were independent, you wouldn't check yes there, you would go on. Okay. As of today, we ask about your parents' marital status. You see the statuses that are there. We are going to select married or remarried. We're going to have them get married tonight in June of 1999. How's that? And we'll go forward. We ask for your parents' social security number. Parents' last name. We'll just put in Jones, first initial, T, date of birth. Let's see, I got to remember, I had them get married in 99, right? I'll have them born in December 15th. I don't know where these dates are coming from. I'm making them up, folks. 1979. Okay. Parents' email address is ttt@gmail.com. TTT. I'm just doing things that are fast so that you can follow with me. Okay, so hopefully you've been able to get all of that in. That was parents' information. Oh, forgot to put in, see? Forgot to put the numbers in, and it tells you. A lot of edits go in this form. Okay, let me retype it. T. Okay, that should fix it. do this. TTT13 at Gmail. This is a test system and does not work like the main system. You shouldn't have quite the problems I'm having tonight. Okay. And your other parent, their social security number is 888-888888. Jones. Yes. Date of birth, 11/11/1979. There you go. And we move on. Have your parents lived in Maryland for the last 5 years? Yes. Just hit next. Household size, there's 2 parents, and then there's you yourself. Do your parents have other children? Yes. They have 3 other children. Other people, will say 0 there. Your parents' number of family members, there's 6 of you. How many of you are in college? Well, let's say 2. You have a brother or sister in college. Then I'll hit next. If I'm moving too fast, just let me know. For 2019, have your parents completed their IRS income tax? Well, all of them should have by now. Already completed. What kind of income tax return did they do? A 1040? And they filed as married, filed joint return. This is what I want to get you to. Your parents will be given the opportunity right here to link to the IRS. They don't have to do that, but if they do this, most of the income information will be filled in for them. It's so much easier. So if they can do the data retrieval tool, they should do that. If they had answered married filing separate returns, they can't use the data retrieval tool, just isn't available, or head of household. So, you know, our qualifying widower, those are not available. But married filing joint return, they have that option. Right now, we're not going to do that. We're going to hit next. I'm
Hey,
going to
Bill,
say,
slow down just 1 second. We've got a couple who are lagging.
okay,
Just for a sec.
not a problem. If they're connecting to the data retrieval tool, it takes a minute or 2.
Why don't you go ahead on and we'll, because it does take a little time for that next part.
I'm going to hit no thanks. So we asked for the parents' adjusted gross income, and I'm going to put it in. And I'm going to give them an adjusted gross income of $50,000. Okay. How much did parent 1 earn from work and parent 2? Parent 1 earned $35,000 and parent 2 earned $15,000. Now, this is probably the most difficult question on the form because you have to use your W-2 forms if you didn't use the data retrieval tool, and you have to calculate it based on the information that they ask here. I encourage you to use a grid, write down what you need to know, and get that information off of your W-2. Fill in the blanks as you go. Some of them may be blank, that's okay. But the idea is to make sure you put all the information in. Then you can calculate their income. Now I'm going to hit next. Enter the amount, your parents' income tax, and it tells you where to find it on the 1040. Everything tells you right where to find it. Just follow the directions. And I had the income tax for them was $3,000. I'll hit next. Did your parents have any combat pay? For most of the people in Tallahassee, that's going to be zero. If they have it, they're in the military, they'll know how much it was. Student grants reported to the IRS in your parents' income tax. You're a new student, they didn't have any, your sibling didn't have any, so that's zero. Income tax credits come off of the IRS Form 1040. Right now for you, that's zero, probably in your sibling in this case, let's say zero. Untaxed portion of IRA distributions and pensions from IRS Form 1040 lines 4A plus 4C minus 4B plus 4D exclude rollovers. What does that mean? These are funds that you've taken out of your pension, not funds that you've contributed over the years, but what you've taken out. And what they're doing here is they're making sure how much that was. So that's all they're doing. And rollovers are where your parents may have changed jobs and they moved their retirement funds from one company to another. That doesn't count against you, and you wouldn't put that in here. Most people are going to have zero here too. And then we ask you about IRA deductions and payments. And this is where you're making contributions. Your parents may have that. They may put some money into an IRA, so we'll put 500 in. Tax exempt interest income from IRS Form 1040, line 2A. It tells you right where to go. Now I'm going to slow down so that you can read all the 1040 information and put in anything you need to put in. This is a little more complicated here. Just remember, do what it's asking you to do, not what you think it's asking you to do. And you will be fine. Read the directions, follow the directions, and you'll do this 100% perfect the first time. I hope you're seeing how really simple it is. Okay, I'm going to hit next now. If I need to slow, put it in the chat and I'll slow down. Don't worry. Child support paid because of divorce or separation, not what they received, but what they paid. Not what they were supposed to pay, but what they paid. Earnings from work under a cooperative education program offered by the college. Taxable earnings from need-based employment programs such as federal work study and need-based employment portions of fellowships and assistantships. Most of your parents won't have this. This is where you would be answering these questions when you get there. Okay, so those are probably going to be zero. Again, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. Did your parents have any of the following? Did they receive any child support? Well, let's say in this case that, yeah, they did. They got $1,000. Housing, food, and other allowances paid to members of the military or clergy. If your parent is in the military and received beyond basic housing, or if they're in the pastorate and they receive funds for housing, this is where you would tell us that. For us, let's say it's zero tonight. Payments to tax-deferred pensions and retirement saving plans paid directly or withheld from earnings, including but not limited to amounts reported on the W-2 forms in boxes 12A through 12D, codes D, E, F, G, H, and S don't include amounts reported in code DD, which is the employer contribution towards health. Now, the Department of Education does not look at the total value of your parents' retirement plans. They do look at the current year's contribution. So let's say that your parents contributed $1,000 to retirement. Let me back that out of there. Okay. Veterans non-education benefits. This is disability or things that they're receiving from their time in the military. Most are going to answer no there, so it's usually 0. Other untaxed income not reported, such as workers' compensation and disability benefits. Because of COVID, many of your parents may have received some disability benefits or workers' compensation. This is where you would list that information. Okay, I don't want to speed ahead too fast, so I'm slowing down. Gonna hit next. As of today, what is your parents' total current balance of cash, savings, and checking? Not what they're gonna have at the first of the month before they pay their bills. We really want the net amount there. So let's give them $1,500. As of today, what is the net worth of your parents' investments, including real estate, not your parents' home? For a lot of families, that's going to be 0, and that is okay. As of today, what is the net worth of your parents' current businesses and our investment farms? Don't include a family farm or a family business with 100 or fewer full-time or full-time equivalent employees. That eliminates most of the businesses in the Tallahassee area, by the way. So that takes that, and generally that's going to be 0. If they do own a business with more than 100 employees, you might need help with that, and we'll be happy to provide it. Put a note in the chat box, and we'll be able to tell you how to calculate the net worth of that business if it has more than 100 employees. Now we're to the student section. We ask you if you completed a tax return. Let's do will file. Let's do already completed. Everybody did the 1040 these days, right? Your filing status is single. No, I know what that is. We can't do that tonight, so I wish we could, but we can't. So I'll click next and tell them no thanks. What was your adjusted gross income? Well, you worked at Chick-fil-A and you made $3,500. $3,500. You indicated that you filed. Did you file a Schedule 1? No, you didn't file any schedules. You were just a simple tax filer. But if you did, you would check yes there. But most of you would not have. Enter the amount of income tax that you paid. It was $200. And most of you are going to have zeros all the way down the line here. You may have something. If you do and you think you have one of these items right here, put it in the chat box and one of our experts can hop on and help you with that. But for the most part, the answers are 0. Okay. Again, these are all going to be 0. Now, the next year, if you're in work study, you're going to want to put it in here because that reduces any contribution that you might have. So keep that in mind. When you get work study doesn't count against you on your FAFSA when you complete it. So those are probably 0 for all of you. And these should all be 0 for you. Again, your part's pretty easy, students, because you don't have a lot to put in usually. Do you want to skip questions about your assets? I'm going to say no tonight, but most of you don't have assets. Cash savings and checking, let's give you $100. You don't have any investments, so those are going to be 0. That's going to be 0. And then you hit next. See, for you, the student, most of that's 0, so it's really easy. And this, I'm not a preparer tonight. And then you can see everything you've done. You can review it. And if you need to make corrections, you can make corrections. So it's really quite easy once you get there. And then you can sign it. You can agree. Next. And then you can sign this FAFSA. And it says that. And then all you have to do is hit submit. Okay, what question did I not answer? Experts out there, what did I not cover clearly? Hop in there and tell us what we need to add.
I just wanted to say that with some of the questions about getting the data retrieval tool information from the tax, what you can do when you hit that question about would you like for us to retrieve your information from Internal Revenue Services, you can put in, yes, you would like for them to retrieve that information over.
Yes.
Or that's always good to do the data retrieval tool first.
Oh, yeah. And we couldn't do that tonight. And it's the only reason we didn't do it because I couldn't link to the IRS. But she's absolutely right. When you can use the data retrieval tool, as easy as this form is, that makes it even easier. And remember, if you're going to summer school, if you're starting school in the summer, you also need to complete the 2020-2021 application because that's the current academic year. Other questions, other comments, guys? Okay, well, I can't submit it. So, yeah.
Mrs. Fires, I was just going to say that if some of the students are, having a hard time and they know what school that they're planning to attend, they might want to just reach out to the financial aid office and see if they can get one of the representatives there to help walk them through. I know we have representatives on the call now where we could have maybe done some one-on-one in some of the breakout rooms, but I think that Ms. Corey was saying that we didn't set it up in the breakout room. So we might want to give them, the office phone number or something like that. I see one student said he's planning on going to FAM, one student said they're going to TCC. So since, we can't talk to them specifically one-on-one, we might want to try another avenue.
Very good point. Very good point. And I will tell you that for TCC, and we will help you regardless of the school you're going to. And you want to make an appointment for somebody to help you with it, you can call 850-201-8399. They will do a ticket escalation to our office and we will call you back and make an appointment. But again, we'll help you regardless of the school you're going to. That's 850-201-8399. The other schools that want to give their numbers, feel free to do that.
course, for Florida A&M, if you're going to Florida A&M, you can call 850-599-3730. And of course, then on our website, if you go to our website, famu.edu, you can reach out to any representative and we do not mind helping and assisting you.
Okay. I don't know if,
And
yes.
And I was just going to say, you can always reach out to me as well. I'll put my information. We work within the 7-county area in North Florida, helping with the FAFSAs and admission application, regardless of whichever institution you wanted to attend.
Okay.
I also put my information there in the chat for anyone who needs assistance, regardless of the school that you're going to. My information is there in the chat, and that's my direct number to my desk. And the email address is to the office if you have additional questions, but that is my information in the chat.
Thank you. Okay. And with that, I guess I'll stop my share, turn it back over. And I just thank everybody for listening, and I hope we've been able to help you some tonight.
I don't know about you, but I've learned so much tonight from the questions that were in the chat, just everything that's going to help all of us as we continue to work with students on the FAFSA form. So I want to remind you of something. Type submit in the chat once you have submitted your application. You want to win one of those prizes? You got to follow these directions. Type submit in the chat once you've submitted your application. There's another step. Send a copy of your confirmation, because you should receive a confirmation. Send a copy of that to the following email. That's C Melton, CMELTON at talchamber.com. Again, that's C Melton, CMELTON at talchamber.com. Now you need to do that to be able to be entered into a drawing for a $25 gift card. Confirmations must be received by midnight tonight to be eligible. And so if you got kicked out, if you had to go back in, or hey, I need to get this, get it done tonight. Not just for the gift card, but to make sure that you are progressing to that next level. Again, put submit in the chat once you've completed your application, and then send a confirmation email. You're going to get a copy of that confirmation email. Send it to Corey Melton, C Melton at talchamber.com. Okay, confirmations must be received by midnight tonight. Okay, tonight, which is Monday, May 17th, in order to be eligible. All right. We have so enjoyed being able to work with you. If for some chance you had some friends that weren't able to join us tonight because maybe they had something else that they needed to do, but they want to find out this information, yes, it is being recorded. However, on June 21st, from 6 o'clock until 7:30, guess what? We'll be back. Okay. Tell a friend, tell a couple of friends. Make sure that people know about this opportunity. We want to help you. We're excited about being here. And with that being said, I want to bid you a fond
Dr.
thank
Gail?
you. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. Mr.
Just before you leave, I know that there's a conversation in the chat, so I didn't want that student to lose out. It was from Kezia Chambers, and
Yes.
I think someone was helping her. I think Miss Evans was helping her. So I just didn't want her to get lost.
Oh, I
us
see it.
ended and she not being helped. Okay, so she just responded. Okay, thank you.
Not a
And
problem.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Gale, I just wanted to let the students know that because of the size of tonight's, we have enough gift cards that anyone who
Ooh,
submits their application today and gets their confirmation to me, cmelton@talchamber.com before midnight, will get a gift card. So we've got
whoa.
enough. We don't even have to draw. All you have to do is get it in.
Wow, if that's not incentive to make sure that you have what you need to go to that next step of higher learning, and you're going to get a gift card on top of that, I don't know what is. So get that done by midnight tonight. Again, put submit in the chat and send your confirmation email to cmelton@talchamber.com. With that being said, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Corey, are we going to stay on the line for a little bit just to make sure that everything's
Yep,
good?
we'll
We have about 7 minutes.
Yep, we'll stay on the line.
Yay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Does somebody see Alexia's question? Somebody that can work with her?
They-
There was another question in the chat that asked, why would a graduate student complete the FAFSA?
I just answered it.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, and I had just answered it too. So she got multiple answers there.
Great minds think alike.
You know, that's the main thing is graduate students forget that institutions have funds.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can divert those to graduate students who are in specific areas. My son-in-law is a graduate, has a master's degree from the University of Virginia in civil engineering. And with his FAFSA and all that he submitted, he went to University of Virginia, got his master's degree without borrowing.
Wow.
It helped him
That's
get
how I got
into
my
an
master's.
Yeah, got into an assistantship. So I mean, you know, this is something students forget. So
And as Dr. Spears said, Chrissy, you know, assistantships, fellowships, you know, research opportunities as well.
I'm trying to get my daughter to look at those things to finish her master's degree. She's a teacher. Matter of fact, she teaches at Sealy.
Yay.
Yeah. She's actually been at Sealy since she was an intern.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is.
So Dr. Gail, you can go over and tell my daughter she needs to get her master's degree.
I will do that. Tell me
Yeah,
her name.
is,
Okay.
she's married. It's Laura Camoasis. Just ask Miss Clemens. They're good friends. So,
I sure
and I know
will.
she's been pushing her. So just let her call her and tell her, you need to get your master's degree.
Bill, this is Teresa. Do I need to give her a call?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so. The more pressure we can put on her.
More
Miss Dennis,
pressure, more
Miss
pressure.
Dennis from Childs calling you about
Yeah.
a master's program.
And we do have fellowships and assistantships at FAMU, just to let you know.
Yep. Well, she graduated her undergraduate with a 4.0. So she has the ability.
Mhm.
Definitely.
You guys, I really appreciate all of your help. I think this was fantastic. Dr. Gail, you are like a rock star. You were great. And Bill, you were amazing
Thank you.
too. Like
Bill was
totally handled the like software issue like a pro.
Yes,
And thank you to all of our experts.
yes.
It's just been a fantastic evening. I know we've at least got 3 or 4 that have submitted it.
Yes.
So I'll be on the lookout for their emails, and I just look forward to June and July. I
Yes.
think we've got
Corey,
it. Yes, sir.
do you think it's possible to see if on the next round we can set it up so if a student has a major problem, we can drop them in a room?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we
Karita and
just
I were
talked
talking
about
about that.
Yeah.
So I didn't set it up in settings that way, so I couldn't change it midstream,
Okay.
but I'll definitely do
understand.
that
I
next
think
time.
that would be good because some of them are going to have issues that need a little more private
Yeah.
in depth.
Yeah.
And I think
So-
that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
This
If
was
you-
our first
Yeah,
go.
Corey, if you
I
want to
think it
do a
went
Zoom one
great.
day, call me, Corey.
I will definitely. Thank you, Karita. And if you guys think of something that would make this better or easier, you just let me know and we'll get that in place for the next one. But we really appreciate.
Do you already have the dates for the June and July?
June
Are you still
is
21st.
June 21st and July 19th.
Mhm.
June 1st and July 19th.
I'd say I find this fun.
I do too.
So,
That is,
and I just think it's so helpful to students. I don't want them to miss $1.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your Monday evening, and we'll look forward to doing this again in June.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Corey.
I look forward to you calling me, Corey. Talk soon.
Thank you
All
all
right,
for
thank you,
having me.
Karita.
Gail.
Thank you
Oh, just
all.
to let you all know too that
Thank
Dr.
you.
Gail was my daughter's high school principal, so my daughter loves her. So Dr. Gail
Love
loves
my
her.
scholars. You know that.
I'm finna call her and tell her I saw you today.
Please do tell her I said hi and I'm proud of her.
I will tell her.
All
See you
right.
guys later.
Good night.
Nice.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.